even in London when you know you're like, yeah, I live here. They're like, you don't have an accent. It's like, no, I do have an accent because I'm in the country. Like, I'm not from here. But Americans come all the time. It's and you meet them constantly. It's like half the people in London aren't even from London.
Kind of like LA. Like most people aren't.
Yeah. Most people in LA are from like
everywhere.
New York, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've met a lot of New Yorkers too.
I think it's from everywhere. I mean, like people from like Iowa and shit.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't met too many New Yorkers here.
So Burning Man.
Burning Man is a good place to start. Yeah, Burning Man.
2019.
Burning Man 2019. So I went to Burning Man this year. I was in London. I've been there for about 6 months, and my dad kind of 4 months in suggested that it was his third time, and he had wanted me to go his first time, his second time, but that was the third time. Moment of transition, kind of felt like the right time to do it. Not many commitments within 6 months, you know. You have a job that luckily lets you go. You kind of have things in the works, but at that point was the right thing to do, and it was insane, man. It's really it's definitely it's an artist event. They call it an event, not a festival, but
how many days was it?
So I was there Saturday, I think the 25th to Monday. So I was there 9 days in the desert.
9 days.
9 days in the desert. We flew in from New York with 2 checked bags and then 2 carry-ons.
And the shirt on your back.
And the shirt on my back, yeah. It was not that much.
Yeah.
But I think
for 9 days in the desert, like there's no grocery store, there's no
bartering. You can't trade things. It's all gifting. It's all this idea of like, I give you what I have because I can. I share. You bring enough for others. And there's a lot of people in their first year, which, you know, that's kind of how I felt being my first year, where you don't necessarily bring enough, or you become this kind of spectator of all this work going on. Like a lot of people put a lot of work into this. This is a $44 million organization.
Wow.
There's a lot of money going through this. There are art cars with stereo systems that cost $6 million. Whoa. And they do it. There's people who put, I mean, you know, it has to be a couple million into a piece just to burn it. Like, it is a next level artist experience. You see things there. And there are other festivals that are going to open your mind. They're going to like recreate certain things. But I mean, this is international. This is, you hear about it and you don't ever do it sometimes, which is, you know, it's not like something you have to do. But if someone says like, you want to go to Burning Man, or I have a way to get to Burning Man, I have a way to get tickets, I mean, you should try if you can do it.
Now the question we're all wondering, are you allowed to bring cameras?
You are, man.
The big one, like you saw people with DSLRs?
I saw, with all this stuff, man. Ooh. All of it.
All right. Might have to do
the only
that
thing
next
is,
year.
it's the dust. It's the dust. You just got to like...
Yeah, protect.
Make sure, research exactly what you have to do to protect your camera, but because I didn't bring one, but you can bring that kind of stuff.
Wow.
It just depends what you use for it, you know, with the media and copyrights and everything.
Yeah.
But there's some of the most amazing art. Some of the most amazing art with, like, you can just climb it. You can do certain things. You see, like, the strangest forms of art, whether it's performance art, circus, still, a temple that kind of, like, in the wind makes noise. Well, you know, there is everything, and there's international artists. There's some of the greatest stuff in the world who have worked all over the world. And there's some of the greatest DJs, some of the greatest people, most influential people. It's true. Like, a lot of rich people do go. A lot of more fortunate people go. And
then you watch it all burn at the end.
You definitely watch it all burn at the end.
Whoa.
Yeah. You watch. Yeah, people go crazy, man.
So, do they use, like, is there like one guy with a gas tank and then like, or like,
no, I'm not
how
quite,
does it go? How does it work?
I'm not quite sure. There were fireworks.
It's just on fire.
It's a bit of a ceremony. They do actually, they do kind of put some explosives in the man.
Nice.
So it was like It's like an
Boom,
action movie.
yeah.
Boom. So they want it to burn. They were like, we've done it in the past years where, and you hear all these stories from like people who've been going there 20 plus years, and they used to sit there for hours just watching him burn. It's kind of like that, that respect of watching the man burn. And then the organization was like, we want it to go bing, bang, boom, party to all hell. Like, and that's what you do. You were there at like, it was around between 10 and 11. And the second it's done, like people were either going to art cars or like these massive temples and, a 747 airplane, like you can go anywhere to party. Or some people were like throwing pig roasts on the man. They were cooking a whole pig for like that could feed 50 people.
These sound like veterans. These sound like the people that have been there a couple times.
And some people are creative enough. I mean, like the main camp. So you get the city that's kind of like in a C shape, and you get the Esplanade, which is the inner aisle.
What'd you call it?
The Esplanade.
Esplanade?
Esplanade. That's the first aisle. But then it goes down into blocks, man. It's a whole city.
Yeah, there must be like an aerial shot we can put up or something.
Easily.
We can find online.
Easily,
Probably.
yeah.
Credit some photographer on that.
Stuff you can see. You can credit most of the photographers with the pictures that they've taken of the art.
I wonder if there's grants. Like some like rich person just like, here's $5 million. Go, as long as you put my name on it, go like make the dopest like party section. I wonder if there's gotta be. That'd be awesome.
And camps, man. Like you got like some of the top DJs: Rufus Du Sol, Charles Cox,
Carl Cox.
Yeah,
He was there.
He was there.
Ooh, that would have been an excellent set.
Yeah, Bert's going next
Diplo
year.
is there. Diplo is there. Several, man. You got like Marcus Schultz was there a few years ago.
Nice.
Okay.
And they have live music too, or is it mostly all electronica?
They do have live music too.
Okay. Whew.
They have live music as well. Some really good live music.
Me and Casson went
Some
last
like
2 days.
actual instruments.
Yeah,
Casson was getting worried
with like
there.
full on brass. They have orchestras. They have this thing called it's the Trip Trap. It's like Paraluna, I think, and it is a light show that plays classical music while you watch these like completely mesmeric like designs. And for one night they had an actual orchestra playing next to the light show. Like people go all out. There's funding for this and grants and like, you get to know people and they trust you. And obviously if you're building an art car with like a $5 million sound system, it's usually going to take off.
Yeah.
Like you put a few lights on it, you make it look cool, which takes like not nearly as much as the sound system. People will come. People talked. There was no cell service. You didn't know where was the place to be. There's no FOMO. There's no dialogue of where there's a place to be on social media. So you kind of go with what people say. But sometimes when there's a big DJ, everybody is like, yo, sunrise set in the middle of the desert. Like you go outside the city to see Rufus Du Sol, which is, one of the top DJs, and you like witness the sky changing while people are dancing on this caged heart, like 3 stories in the air with like no worry about falling off. And the whole car is shaking from the bass, from the people just like dancing on the car to the people dancing on this like caged heart. It's like people just transport themselves there. It's insane.
Yeah, that's like a couple people away from a World Star video.
More or less, man. It's pretty World Star-ish. Yeah, it's pretty World Star-ish.
No, I mean if that thing went down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
hands down. That is like, yeah. If that went down, oof. I mean, there was a.
How many people would you say were on it? 20?
No, more, way more, way more.
Whoa!
Way
Just like
more.
hanging like from like bars and like metal support.
Oh, on
and
the
stuff.
bar, on the metal, like heart, probably like 15.
Holy shit!
15, and then on the actual art car, there's like, yeah, you were talking 40, 50 at least.
How many people were in that Thunderdome you were talking about?
The Thunderdome, that
Yeah.
is insane. That is like straight up destroy each other. And depending on the individuals, like you'll get people who are just doing it for fun. I mean, you'll see some huge people, and it'll be some Mad Max type thing like, where people are cheering. They're like going crazy on top of this dome, this like metal cage that people are like suspended on 2 wires, and they just throw them into each other, and you just like claw at each other's faces, and they all have smiles on.
What the fuck is this?
It's Burning Man, man.
That's
It's
crazy.
It's anything you want. You want food. You go find a camp that does food, and they'll gift you. The idea isn't free, so it's gifting. So that's where it is. You accept it as like a good deed from someone, but there's no. The idea isn't that you have to feel to give back. The idea is
just
that
a gift.
somebody's doing it
Out of kindness, right? So like, you go to this like, and you just kind of like figure it out. In a way,
Yeah, some people it takes them the whole week to figure it out. Some people it takes them like one day. I think for me it took me a couple days, because as soon as you witnessed people like how they liked to burn, you go, oh, okay. Usually being straight up is a really good thing. Just be like, go with the flow, say yes. Like if you meet people and you like them, go with them. Do not second guess it. If you meet people and you're like, you go, hey, have a good burn. I'll see you. And then you just like disappear into the next 70,000 people that you're ready to meet.
Wow.
With fires and, food, and everybody's giving you drinks. Yeah. And then, there's around people like sharing their substances, even though it's still, federal, like by the federal system, illegal. But it's fun. It's fun stuff, man. I really suggest it.
What was the water situation? Did they have like some sort of reservoir or something that they hooked it up with? Or?
No, you bring your own.
Oh, so like
So
you
you
could
do-
really get fucked.
You have
you
to
don't bring water.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can get fucked if you do not.
That was gonna be my next question too.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause even
kinda
at
what I meant, like, you-
at smaller festivals, like even like when they purposely have water, have all these safety rules. It's sometimes like hard for people to get water. So I can only imagine like straight up middle of the desert,
Yeah.
sun all day.
Yeah.
Like that's
You got to
probably
bring like a
harsh.
cooler at that point.
Yeah.
Like, with just
Even
packed.
like a fire hazard, like because there's flammable items,
Yep.
explosives in
Well,
the
I
middle
mean,
of the desert.
That's the point. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, they have like guards for the fires. Like a few people in the past have ran into them. They've ended their lives like that, and so they've
Whoa.
had volunteers. Yeah, man. My dad witnessed one of those in this earlier 2 years.
So like on purpose, the guy was like,
The guy got pulled out and he ran back in.
That's crazy.
Of a fire.
Guy runs into a fire, experiences what it's like to be in a fire, is then pulled out, and then consciously decides to run back in.
how many drugs? What, I mean,
He was lit.
yeah.
I mean, somebody
sure.
overdosed this year.
yeah, he must
right.
have been on something nuts.
Oh, but this is another guy. It's like, and then there was a car crash right before getting in where like a couple people had died. And I mean, people die at this thing, man. This is 70,000 people. You get
Yeah.
70,000, 80,000 people in the desert to party for like,
There's going to be like weird things that happen and
there's weird things. Yeah. I mean,
unfortunate coincidences.
Totally. This thing started like in the early 90s. Late 80s, technically, but it all started in San Francisco, that kind of movement. And it grew from, it must have been less than 100, if not 100 people gathering to this. I mean, it caught wind. Now there's burns in Spain. You get burns in South Africa. You get burns in Israel. You get burns in rural England. You get burns in Miami now. There's going to be one.
How long has it been going on? Sorry, I missed that.
It's about late 80s.
Since the 80s?
Yeah. And people have continuously been going. It's
Yeah, so
changed.
It's pretty old.
Yeah, man.
Coming up
Yeah.
on 40 years.
People now just come until Wednesday because then people come for the weekend of party. It becomes like an actual city that functions for 1 week in the year. Like people come for like 3 days when it's more tame, and people come for the party, and people talk about how this whole thing has changed because of the use of LED lights. Like before, you just used to ride around in the dark. Now Burning Man is just like,
Yeah.
it's this vision, man, that's all lit up. Every bike, every person, every kind of corner of the whole place. You look out and there's just fire and LEDs. And people, you know, sharing their social media. It's another thing now. It's like a completely new presence in the festival that people either hate or people don't mind. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like to deny that stuff, to like make it stop the door, I think is nearly impossible, because it's like, it's here. Like, it's going to get in. Let it be something at the festival. Let it be a personality. And it totally is. Instagram models and people passing their info. But it works. Yeah. It works. It's new thing. And in 5 years, it's going to be something completely different, for sure.
Yeah.
The outfits alone were probably nuts.
The outfits, yeah. Yeah, you always see them online. Like, they post like 2 weeks later or something.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful people, too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'll be there
Beautiful,
next year.
really fun people.